Faith Ringgold is an artist and writer born in Harlem, New York City in 1930. She was an art teacher for many years, created artwork in support of the civil rights movement, and was a feminist and political activist. One of the many things Faith Ringgold is famous for is her invention of story quilts. These mixed media pieces combine her skills as a painter and history growing up with a mother who was a fashion designer. They also depicted, through images and words, her advocacy of civil rights and gender equality.
Hello, artists. I hope you enjoyed hearing that really wonderful story read by Faith Ringgold herself. It's a wonderful book. I thought it was also appropriate for us to read right now because it's about a little girl who dreams of that she's able to fly and that she's able to go places beyond just where she lives. And that's kind of what a lot of us are doing right now. We might be thinking about where we wish we could go, but let's look a little closer at this picture because there's a lot of beauty in the place that she did describe, in this Tar Beach. Now, why did she call it Tar Beach? Think about that for a moment. The reason, if you look at this picture, maybe you already knew, is because she's describing the tar rooftop of her apartment building, and she's clearly there with her family. So let's look at, there's so much happening in this picture, and that's one of my favorite things about Faith Ringgold's artwork, is that she uses her words too in her artwork, but even just her images tell us so much because she includes so much. There's so much happening in this scene. Let's take a moment to look at some of the things that are happening. You can look at it. So she's like we said, she's on the rooftop with her family. She's over here lying down on a picnic blanket. She's got some comfy pillows behind her head. Her family, what are they doing? They're eating. It looks like they're playing a game of cards. There's a big spread of food over here. There's even more, a picnic basket of some kind down there. And it's not just what the family is doing, but there's stuff in the surrounding. There's laundry being hung. That kind of reminds us that this is a shared community. There's a city off in the background. We know that it's nighttime because of the beautiful stars in the sky and the bridge that's all lit up, the little yellow windows in the buildings. There's so much detail. So when you do your Faith Ringgold inspired artwork today, I want you to be thinking about detail. So here's my example, and what I want your subject to be is something that has made you very happy, that you have enjoyed doing while you've been at home. So my example that I thought of is that one of my favorite things to do during the day, besides make these lessons for you all, is to take my dogs for a walk. I find it really peaceful. It makes my dogs so happy. The weather has been a little up and down lately, but it's still really nice every time I go outside. And so I did this example, and stick around till the end, everybody, because I'm going to show it to you in color also. But I did this example that includes words. It says, when I go on walks, I love to hear the birds singing, and I love to make my dogs happy. See my little birds singing, my happy little dog. Very simple, the words that I included, but not very simple the scene that I did. I tried to put a lot of detail. I put the sidewalk that I was walking down. I put the street next to it. I put some trees. I tried to make it look like my neighborhood. I looked at a picture of my house. This is what my house looks like. You can just use your imagination though. So there's lots of ways to do this. If your favorite thing to do is reading, you could do a very detailed cover of a book that is your favorite book to read right now. If your favorite thing is cooking with one of your family members, then you could do a whole scene of you in the kitchen cooking. Maybe it's playing with a sibling. There's so many things you could do. Now, I'm going to show you one other step after you do your drawing that needs to have as much detail as possible, because I want people to be able to know a whole story just looking at your picture. I want them to know lots of things about you and the thing that makes you really happy to do at home. But the last thing that I'll want you to do, besides add some color if you can, is make a border, because that's what Faith Ringgold's story quilts were. One of the things that they were famous for is these beautiful quilted borders she would do. She used painting, she used fabric, she was so good at so many things. So you can use newspaper, you could use colored paper that you have at home, or you could try to make it a material that's kind of related to what you did. So since mine was about walking dogs, I actually cut up some pieces from their dog food bag. It was a little dirty, I had to wash it, but I thought that would just give it even more of a personal touch. You do not have to do that. If there's nothing you can think of to go with your drawing, then just use beautiful strips of colored paper that you cut up into squares, or newspaper if you don't have that, or just anything, and then maybe you color every other square if it's regular paper. You could do this right onto your paper, but then you better make sure you leave room for a border, because look, the art teacher made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. I did not do that. I would be covering up some of my words and too much of my picture if I put a border. So I had to get creative, and I cut up a brown paper bag to be my background. So now I'm ready to glue. Alright, artists, so I was a bit of a bad example. You should always try to glue somewhere else, not on top of your artwork, especially if you plan to add some color to it. You'll get sticky glue all over it. Now, you could leave it like this. I kind of like that it has almost two borders. It's got my pattern border of the dog food bag, and it's got my brown paper border. I do really like it, but I want to show you another thing that you could do if you want to clean up the edges and have it be kind of a crisp line. You can take a pair of scissors. You might get an adult to help you cut it straight or draw a line first. And you can trim the edges once you've cut, and you'll get a nice clean straight line. It does give it a very finished look. Again, it's really hard to do a straight line. You could get a ruler and draw straight lines first. You could ask an adult for help who's maybe really, see now this one was very uneven, so it's going to be kind of satisfying to cut it straight. Oh, hello. Don't you go there. Push, push, push. Usually you should count to like 5 at least when you're gluing things down. Alright, I've got a little bit of my brown showing. I like that. Alright, there we go. Alright, now stick around and watch as I add some color, which is always optional, but if you have it, I think you should do it. If you have colored pencils or marker, let's add some color to these.